Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little story time for you guys. It's about how I have my baby at home. And if you hear hiccups, just know that's my baby because she has hiccups right now. But yes. Look at her. You got the hiccups, my love? Oh my god. Okay. So I'm going to be doing a little story time about how I had my baby at home. I'm going to start from the beginning. So on November 18th, I was having contractions at 11 p.m. Usually, I didn't really have contractions. I used to get Braxton Hicks, but they were never painful. But these contractions were really painful. So I didn't know what to do. I was at work and I was like, let me just sit down. Let me just relax and try to see what happens. So they kept coming regularly and I started timing them. I was like, you know what, let me just time them. Let me see if there's a pattern or like anything. So I started timing it and I realized that they were 7 to 8 minutes apart at the time. So the pain started to get worse and I felt like the contractions started to come a little bit closer. So I texted my aunt. I was like, hey, I think I'm having contractions. I don't really know what to do, but I'm just gonna go to the hospital and see like what's going on. So I left work and she met me at my house. When she met me at my house, it was probably 12:30 in the morning. So we drove to the hospital that I chose to have my baby. It's a hospital that's about, you could say 30 to 45 minutes away from my house, depending on the traffic. So we decided to just drive there. So we got there around 1:30 in the, well, we got there and I was checked in about 1:30 in the morning. They actually admitted me into the labor and delivery triage. So the nurse, she said that she was just gonna check me to see how dilated I was, and they were gonna monitor the baby's heart rate. So I said, okay, that's protocol, that's what they do. So she checked my cervix and she said I was 1 centimeter dilated and 70% effaced. And she put the monitor thing on my stomach and they monitored the baby's heart rate and everything for 1 hour. So when the 1 hour was done, she checked me again and she told me that I was pretty much the same. Nothing really changed and that I should probably go home and wait till things progress. So she called my doctor and they prescribed me this medication that was supposed to calm me down and relax me. So they gave me that medication and I was still like in a lot of pain. Like I felt like I was in real labor. That's how I felt. Like it was just getting worse and I couldn't move. I couldn't really walk. I was throwing up back to back. It was just really, really bad. So I stayed there for a little while. I stayed there for another hour and a half. And it started to hit around 4 o'clock in the morning. I was still there. So my aunt called because she left earlier. She left because she thought they was going to admit me. So she called me around 4:20, you could say. And she was like, are you still there? Like, I thought they would have admitted you, or did you leave yet? And I told her that they said I was discharged, but I was trying to just gather the strength that I had to just leave because I was just in so much pain that I couldn't really leave. But the nurse was telling me that I wasn't in labor and that I should go home. So yeah, so I got off the phone with her and I was in so much pain and got up to use the restroom and I couldn't even make it back to my triage bed. So I asked them to just wheelchair me there. So they got a wheelchair and they wheeled me back to the room. I was collecting my stuff and yeah, I called the Uber home because I didn't drive. And they wheeled me to the front of the hospital. So by the time I left the hospital, it was 1:45 in the morning. And I got in the Uber and I was like going through labor. I was like, ooh, ah, whatever. And the driver was like, oh, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm going through labor. I think I'm about to have a baby, but I'm not going to have the baby now. And he was like, okay, I'm going to get you home as fast as I can. He drove really fast, and he got me home within 30 minutes. By the time I got home, it was 5:20. So I'm walking in the door, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just, at this point, it's unbearable. Like, it's really unbearable. Like, I'm just like trying to, like, you know, manage the pain, but it's like, it's just so bad. I'm just like, ooh, you know, going through labor, and I didn't even know it. So I get to my bed, this bed actually. So I'm taking some Tylenols to try to alleviate the pain. And then, like, at the same time, the contractions at this point is coming back to back, like back to back. So I'm having the urge to push at the same time. So I'm pushing while the contractions are coming. And then next thing you know, my water breaks. My water broke at 3:38 in the morning. So right after my water broke, I called 911. The dispatcher was like, you know, what's your emergency? And I'm like, I think I'm going to have this baby. Like, I think I'm in labor. I think I'm having a baby. And she was like, okay, calm down, like, address, blah, blah. And then I'm pushing with every contraction, and she's asking me, do you see the head? Do you see the head? And I'm like, no, I don't see the head. And my grandma was home at the time, and she was going crazy. She was running around looking for towels, and she actually got a towel. She slipped a towel under me. I don't even know how, because I was in so much pain that I don't even remember her doing anything. But she slipped the towel underneath me, and she started looking for some Haitian soap. This Haitian soap was supposed to, like, I guess, make the labor go by easier or whatever. But she was looking for the Haitian soap, and she found it. And I'm on all fours on the bed, and I'm like, you know, rocking back and forth, and I'm pushing. At that point, all my clothes was off. Like, I didn't even care. The pain was so bad, I just didn't even care anymore. She's like, help is on the way, help is on the way. You know, try not to push or whatever. But I'm like, I have to push, I'm sorry. So I'm pushing. And then I feel something, and she asked me again, do you see the head? So I'm feeling around to see if I, you know, feel the head or whatever. And I felt something. It was like really hard and slimy and wet. I was like, I think I feel the head. So then, you know, I pushed again, and the baby's head, the whole head popped out all at once. I was like, you know, so I'm looking down, and I see the head, and I'm freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this baby is coming. So 2 minutes later, I get the urge to push again. I push, and the whole baby came out. And so I kind of like scooped her head. Like, when she was coming out, I was scooping her so that she could fall on her side instead of falling on her head and cracking her neck. So yeah, she fell onto the towel that was on the bed, and she didn't cry. So I turned around as fast as I could, and I was rubbing her back. I was like, oh my God, please wake up. Like, I don't know what's going on. And the umbilical cord was like wrapped once around her neck. So I had to take it off her neck and was rubbing her back. And then she started crying. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you, Lord. Like, it was just so crazy. I looked at my phone, and it was 5:50 in the morning. So I'm like, wow, from 5:38 to 5:50, in like 12 minutes, I had my baby. Like, that's so crazy. And I left the hospital an hour before, and I'm like, these people told me I wasn't really in labor, that I was in pre-labor, and to just go home and wait till it gets worse. But I just had my baby like an hour later. Like, how is that even possible? So right after I picked up the baby and rubbed her back and everything, that's when the paramedics came, and they was like, oh man, we missed everything. Like, I wanted to deliver the baby for you. And I'm like, where were y'all? So yeah, they helped me cut the cord. I'm gonna insert a little clip here.
What? You need to.
Okay, what I need to do.
Just trying to make sure. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Wow.
Hold it just like that.
Okay.
Okay?
But they helped me cut the cord, and then transported me to the hospital, which another hospital, which is 5 minutes away from my house. The reason why I didn't go to that hospital was because I heard that they didn't have a good mother and baby section. I didn't want anything to happen to my baby. So I pre-registered to have my baby at the other hospital, which is supposed to be one of the best in South Florida. So after they transported me to the hospital, I was able to push my placenta out there at the hospital. I had to hold it in, and it was like, that was painful as well. Like, because my body was telling me to release the placenta, but I had to hold it until we got there. So as soon as we got there, like, I pushed it out, and they took the baby and they was checking her and doing all those tests. And my doctor met me at the hospital, and she checked me. Turns out I had a rip inside, so they had to stitch me up there, and then we've been there ever since. And then after that, they told me that the baby could have possibly had an infection, so they was gonna treat her for 10 days at the hospital. And yeah, so after 3 days I left, and she stayed there another 7 days, which was torture. The next video will be about how I picked her up. But yeah, so I was there, and then I made a complaint to the first hospital. I wrote a letter, and it got to the head of their department, of the mother baby department, and they called me and apologized and everything, because the medication that they gave me was supposed to relax me, and it also has a side effect of dilating you faster. So what the nurse should have done was check me before I left the hospital, because if she did check me, she would have seen that I was dilated even more than what she initially checked, and they probably would have admitted me, and I would have never went through that. But they did apologize. I mean, I don't forgive them, but at least my baby is here and she's healthy, and I love her. Like, she is my life. I love being a mom. It's just like one of the best things in the world. So I'm gonna show you my little baby. Her name is Anastasia. Say hi, my love. Hi. Oh my God, you're so cute. You're so cute, my baby. Right now, she's 6 weeks old. She was born on November 19, 2018 at 5:50 in the morning, and she weighed 6 pounds and 14 ounces. So yeah, that's the end of this video. The next video would be about how I got her from the hospital after her 10-day stay. That was really heartbreaking for me too, because I haven't been away from her. I mean, it's hard to be away from your baby, even though you just gave birth and you really don't know this person and you haven't really had a lot of time with them to even miss them. But a mother's instinct is everything, and when she was away from me, I was just like so heartbroken. I used to visit her every day, like 2 times a day, and I used to stay there for hours just watching her, feeding her, changing her, and everything. So it was just so heartbreaking for me to be away from her. But you're gonna see that video, and yeah, so just leave some love in the comments below. Like this video if you like the story, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.